This is one of the most dangerous and active gang wars going on in Chicago of today. It started off with two gangs being one set and actually being cool with each other, but ended up going to war after a well-loved female on their side died. This information that I have is exclusive information that isn't on the internet. Actually, another loyal supporter hit me up who is allegedly an associate of JMG, which is a dangerous Chicago set that is at war with a gang called Lafa. These two gangs are so active that I actually had surveillance footage of shootouts and shootouts that was caught on camera of music videos. Before we get into how this war started, which is a crazy ordeal, let's break down these two gangs, about some of the meanings and where they located. JMG, which stands for Jeffrey Maynard Gangsters, which they also go by MP, which stands for Merle Park, aka Murder Park.
So a black SUV used in a killing last month in the Jeffrey Manor neighborhood.
He was standing outside near 98th and Hoxie in the Jeffrey Manor neighborhood.
Home invasion ends in death for one of the men who forced his way into a Jeffrey Manor home.
A few minutes later.
Looking freaky, boy. Y'all supposed to
which they mostly go by 4E or 10 gang, which was named after a guy who died, which we'll get to in a little bit. They located throughout 95th and Jeffrey to 97th and Marion, mostly filled with GDs and BDs. The Lafas are gangster disciples, Latin kings and vice lords though. Lafa members have went through multiple indictments throughout the years. I even DM'd some Lafa members to try to get some information from them, but I had no success with doing that. One even told me I was the police. These two sets were cool all up until November 23rd, 1997.
TV, we doing the Mobb block, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody been over in Jeffrey Manor, so we gotta give them a taste of what it's like. Let them know niggas ain't just, you know what I'm saying, killing each other and gangbanging all day.
This was allegedly the girl that was named after Lafa after she died in her honor. It was around 4:45 p.m. when 15-year-old Anna Vera was walking in the 4100 block of South California Avenue, right in front of Kelly High School. She was allegedly a former gang member, and one of the gang members from the former set told her that he wanted to shoot her the day before that. And around 4:45 p.m., he walked up on her right in front of that high school and shot her. This would be one of the first deaths that Lafa would take and make MP and Lafa break off from each other. And listen to this is pretty crazy. Lafa would be named after Anna, and it stands for Love Anna Forever Always. Allegedly, her brother would branch off and go with MP instead of Lafa. Her brother would allegedly be killed by Lafa in 2014, but we'll get to that in a little bit. The war would still continue, but I couldn't find any information between 2009 and 1997 of people dying. But on July 19th, 2009, a well-loved Lafa member would lose their life, and then a peace treaty would go on after his death. It was around 2 p.m. on that day when Brian Puckett was in the 2200 block of East 100th Street when allegedly some MP members walked up on him and shot him multiple times. He was pronounced dead at 9:36 p.m. After Brian's death, a peace treaty will go on for a few years, which a peace treaty is an agreement between two hostile parties, which formally ends a state of war between the parties. But the peace treaty was ended in a crazy situation because a mother of 3 young children would be murdered. It was July 25th, 2012. Janine Hancock, 34 years of age, and a 17-year-old boy, Alexi Johnson, and 2 others were enjoying a warm, humid night in the small neighborhood park right around 10:18 p.m. when at least 2 gunmen walked through a gangway nearby and fired dozens of rounds, striking all 4 people, 17-year-old Alexi Johnson and 34-year-old Janine Hancock, aka J-Dub, and over 50 shell casings were recovered from the scene. And the alleged gang that committed this murder was Lafa, which they were indicted for this murder in 2020, but we'll get to that later on in this video. About a little bit over a year later, MP would get kickback for the murders that Lafa allegedly committed. It was September 11th, 2013. At around 10:50 p.m., Antonio Calhoun, aka Tony from Lafa, was walking down a sidewalk in the 10,000 block of South August Bar Avenue when a dark four-door sedan pulled up and someone inside began shooting. Tony was hit in the upper chest and was pronounced dead at the scene. But then less than a year later, a well-loved JMG member would die. This is who I was talking about earlier. That was allegedly Anna's brother that flipped the JMG. Lafa was named after Anna, but her brother stayed at JMG when she died. It was June 1st, 2014. De Niro Appleton, aka Nero from the JMG set, was standing in the 9600 block of South Brandon Avenue at around 8:48 p.m. when someone walked up and fired multiple shots. He was pronounced dead at Advocate Christ Medical Center. Lafa was then indicted in 2015 for drugs and multiple shootouts. This was one of the first indictments that they went through, and the killing started to slow down around this time, all up until 2 years later.
4 out of the 8 arrested in this drug bust are confirmed gang members and have direct connection to the Gang of Disciples, and more specifically with the very violent street gang Lafa out of Chicago.
The Lafa gang is a documented violent street gang from the Jeffrey Manor neighborhood in Chicago.
On February 4th, 2017, on a cold Chicago morning at around 2:27 a.m., Clavante E. Banks, aka Lil Vito from JMG, was walking through Murder Park in the 2100 block of East 97th Street when he heard shots and felt pain in his chest, police said. He then ran to a home in the 2200 block of East 97th Street. When emergency crews were called, Lil Vito suffered from a gunshot wound in his upper chest and was taken to Christ Medical Center in Oakland, where he died at 4:19 a.m. This would be around a time where things will ramp up a few notches and the killing would be back to back, because just over a month later, a Lafa member would die. March 30th, 2017, just after 11 p.m., 27-year-old Cornell Patrick, aka Siege, and 23-year-old Scott, which was a female, were riding in a van southbound on South Shore Drive when a black Jeep pulled up alongside of them on 70th Street, hitting Scott in the side of the head as she sat in the front passenger seat. Patrick was shot in the side of his body in the back of the van, and then the van would crash into a pole on 71st Street. Dominic Scott, 23 years of age, who was the female in the van, and Cornell Patrick was dead on the scene. But only about 2 months later, a well-loved JMG member would die. They would actually rename the gang after him in his honor. It was May 9th, 2017. On a warm Chicago afternoon, at about 12:21 p.m., Kavion Walton, aka Tintin, 17 years of age, was walking with another male, 22 years of age. They were walking west on 95th Street when 2 masked males got out of a black SUV, hitting south on Yates Avenue and opened fire. The shooters then got back into the SUV and hit it east on 95th Street. Kavion Walton was shot multiple times in the chest, right leg, and right arm. He was taken to Christ Medical Center in Oakland, where he was pronounced dead. They were renamed JMG 10 Gang after his death. Only about 3 months later, on September 16th, 2017, another JMG member would die. It was in the late night hours around 8:47 p.m. when Darius Buckley, aka Debo, was arguing with someone in a driveway in the 9700 block of South Marion, when suddenly the other person pulled out a gun and shot him multiple times in the head. Darius Buckley was pronounced dead at the scene. Then the tables would flip though, because over the next few years, Lafa members will lose their life back to back. Plus they would deal with multiple indictments for the murders that they committed in the past. But we're about to get to that soon. It was January 27th, 2018. A man was killed and another was critically wounded. At around 11:15 a.m., Jamin Harris, aka Manja/Omar from the Lafa set, was standing in the 1300 block of West 110th Place when someone in a white sedan fired shots. He suffered from gunshot wounds to the chest and was pronounced dead at 11:55 a.m. and died at only the age of 20. But on May 23rd, 2019, multiple Lafa members will be indicted, 11 in total, including a woman and 2 of her sons. They were charged as a part of a federal drug and gun investigation in Chicago. During the multi-year probe, law enforcement seized 29 firearms and associated ammunition. This was a big loss for Lafa because after this indictment, Lafa then started taking loss after loss. It was July 10th, 2020. Terrence Molden, aka Munchie from the Lafa set, was in the street at about 4:48 p.m. in the 9800 block of South Hoxie Avenue when a light colored vehicle pulled up and someone inside fired shots. He was only 15 years of age and was struck in the back and was taken to University of Chicago Medical Center where he died. This next incident, 10 Gang would almost lose a valuable member. This guy is allegedly known to put in work. His name is 33rd and he actively does music. 33rd was in the car with his 7-year-old son that Tuesday afternoon on 95th Street and Stony Island Avenue at about 2:54 p.m. when another vehicle pulled up and someone inside fired shots. Thank God his son wasn't hit, but 33rd was shot in the head. 33rd then transported himself to Advocate Trinity Hospital in good condition. Look at this though, this is footage from 33rd's music video, which ended bad and happened about 11 months ago. But on August 23rd, 2022, allegedly they would catch up with a Lafa member because Demetrius Ivory, aka Boo Boo from the Lafa set, was in the car in the 9200 block of South Halstead Street when another vehicle pulled up and sprayed multiple bullets inside his car and killed him at only the age of 30. Close to a year will go past before a JMG member will lose their life. June 25th, 2023, at approximately 2 a.m., Ronnie Martin, aka Stank/Spark from the JMG set, was in the 5100 block of Stateland Ave. Witnesses state that they heard several shots in the parking lot, but everybody had fled the area. 33-year-old Ronnie Martin was found dead, suffering from gunshot wounds, but was pronounced dead at the scene. This last member though, 10 Gang, would recently lose this member, and he was shot in his own hood. It was July 19th, 2023, when Princeton Mac, aka Vaughn Mac from JMG, was shot multiple times in the 9700 block of South Marion Avenue just after 7 p.m. He was taken to University of Chicago Medical Center where he later died from his injuries at only the age of 24. But this was a crazy story, and that'll be about it for this video. Make sure you like or dislike, comment, and subscribe, and let me know down in the comments what y'all want to see next. And as always, stay blessed, stay well. Yeah, I'm out.